Trick or treat. Welcome back to This is VANCOLOUR's House of Horrors. If you're not scared yet, don't worry. We're about to tell you about the most terrifying ghoul haunting the city of Vancouver, even worse than a Vancouver vampire. To explain, a former award-winning journalist whose work has appeared in the Globe and Mail, CBC, and the Tyee. He's also the author of the short story Ultraviolet Night, featured in the Not As It Seems Gothic Anthology. Yes, he's my friend, but what can I say? I have cool friends. He is Jesse Ferreras. Jesse, so nice to see you.
It's great to see you too.
We're bros, so it's nice to have you on the show finally. I read your book, scared the shit out of me. And it scared me because the protagonist of your book is a vampire, and yet the antagonist is even scarier than that. Can you explain what's scarier than a vampire running wild through a city like Vancouver?
Well, lots of things in Vancouver, you could say. I mean, it was interesting. Putting this story together, you would think that doing a story about the housing crisis would lend itself to a vampire story, and in a way it does. But as I went through the conception of this story, by the end of it, I realized something worse than vampirism is happening in Vancouver.
What?
With vampirism, what you have is at least a seduction before somebody takes you out.
Right.
In Vancouver, you don't necessarily have that happening. The housing crisis is something that's been imposed on people and isn't sucking them dry, it's suffocating people.
Wow.
And when I started to think about this more deeply, I thought, the villain of this story isn't a vampire. The villain of this story is an incubus. Now, an incubus is a mythological creature who was known for sitting on people's chests and suffocating them while they slept. Some seduction involved, but not nearly as much as a vampire. This figure was used to explain, illnesses back in the Middle Ages and when it came up in different cultures. And it was just a way to explain away medical problems. These days, you can use that same figure to explain away what's happening in Vancouver and how people are being suffocated by the affordability crisis.
Who is the metaphor here? I'm not following along. Because I feel like you could blame a lot of people.
So the incubus could represent a bunch of different people. It could represent, predatory developers, predatory activists. Right. What you'll see in the story is a lot of reference to the same rhetoric that a lot of some of these activists have used around Vancouver. So we've talked a lot about yes in my backyard activists.
YIMBYs.
YIMBYs, yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to talk about them as a broad movement, not as individuals. Okay. So as a movement, what you see happening is this is a group of very, I would say, well-intentioned, but also at the same time misguided people.
But they want housing everywhere, right? Yes, in my backyard, build more housing. That sounds good. How are they the villains?
Because the rhetoric they use is extremely superficial. And what's objectionable about what a lot of them say is they use social justice rhetoric to support the building of condos, which are affordable to precisely no one in our region.
Wow.
Right across the region, we have hundreds of thousands of condos that have never been sold.
Yeah.
This movement has pushed for the construction of these condos by saying we should do mass rezonings across the city as if that was going to make everything more affordable. That never happened. What actually happens is you take one piece of property where a single family home is selling for $2 million on the open market. You rezone that into 2-3 properties. Each of those units is going to cost, instead of $2 million, $1.9 million, even over $2 million.
Oh.
You rezone a property, you multiply its value. And this group talked about rezoning as if it meant that rich people were going to learn to share. That's not true. Rich people were going to get a lot more money off of these rezonings, and the people who benefited are the people at the top, not the people at the bottom who actually need that housing.
So explain how YIMBYs are the incubus in terms of whose soul they are sucking, because what you've described is just the rich getting richer, but who is suffering as a result of kind of the YIMBY manifesto?
I wouldn't say it's soul sucking so much as breath sucking. I mean, when I look at the affordability crisis, I think of people suffocating, not being able to breathe under the stress of being unable to afford a home, being unable to work a job that's going to be able to pay for the expenses that you need to live in this city, rent, mortgage, taxes, utilities, everything.
Yeah.
So what you have in this story is a villain who doesn't exactly suck souls out of people, but just sucks the life out of them, not by sucking their blood the way a vampire would, but by just imposing themselves on these people. So what you see happening throughout the story, people laid out, their hearts pumping outside of their chest and their chests sunken in on themselves.
But who are these people in real life? I'm trying to follow the metaphor here.
Well, it's a composite of people, I would say. So you could say it's a number of the YIMBY leaders who have said things.
No, the victims, I mean.
Oh, the victims?
Yeah.
The victims are the people of the city.
Yeah.
The homeless, the renters, the working class, all these kinds of people who simply cannot afford to live in a city that is sacrificing their prosperity for a greater good.
But I thought we need more housing.
We do need more housing. We need more housing that people can actually afford to live in. You know?
Right.
What we see throughout the region is all these different condos, which so many of them look exactly the same. You know, a bedroom here, a bedroom there, square, boxy, and often very poorly built.
Not meant for families, not meant for actual people who live and work in the city.
That's
what
right.
You're saying. Okay.
I mean, there's other people in this city who've done a lot better, who've done a wonderful job of reporting on this. You know, people like Andy Yan, Ian Young, Kathy Tomlinson, Kerry Gold, Douglas Todd, a wonderful group of reporters who revealed that the people who are actually purchasing a lot of those condos throughout the city of Vancouver, all those brand new buildings, from like 2011 onward, those are about 25% foreign owned.
Interesting.
And here's what I found really objectionable too. There was a movement by a lot of these activists to start, you know, relaxing view cones.
Yeah.
To, you know, take away sightline of the mountains. I could accept that if these were buildings that were being built for people who can actually live here, who can afford to live here. But that's not what's happening. My understanding of that is they're opening up more land and opening up more space for more of these same condos to be built. I haven't seen any value proposition to the working class of this city.
So what you're saying is YIMBYs are pushing people out of the city, sucking the life out of them, so they have to basically go somewhere else.
Working in hand with developers. I would say that they're advocating for developers who are doing that.
Wow. Jesse, that is a hot take. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of emails about that. I appreciate your time tonight, and I appreciate the story that you wrote in that anthology. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Folks, happy Halloween. Please be safe out there, however you celebrate. Also, huge thanks to Oddfellows Pictures producer Chris Ferguson, Fiona Forbes, and my buddy Jesse Ferreras for tonight's show. If this episode terrified you, a great place to unwind and decompress is Pacific Sands Beach Resort in Tofino, proudly supporting local conversations right here on This is VANCOLOUR, even when they're scary. Also, if you've got a dog in a Halloween costume, please send me your photos, unless it's Chucky from Child's Play, because I still have trauma. Email me, mo@thisisvancolour.com. Also, the internet is a scary place, but it's all good vibes and hot takes for me at VANCOLOUR. We're back next week. Until then, stay spooky, friends. Peace.